Hi, besties. You've found your community bestie to share thoughts and opinions, recap the shows we love.
Having too much fun.
Bravo should be fun. And have piping hot gossip sessions about the celebrities and Bravo lebs we love, hate, and love to hate. He went on a podcast claiming he had a threesome with two women from the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
Immediately, I was like, I wonder if it's Brandy and Carlton.
I'm Caitlin Marshall, your pop culture and Bravo bestie. Allegedly allegations. And if you enjoy fun conversation between friends, listening to your bestie rant about shows we can't get enough of, plus enjoy a little bit of, well, ridiculousness.
Oh my God. I'm sorry. There's a spider that is coming down. Hold on.
It's like the Blair Witch Project.
Oh my God. Has anybody seen my ring?
Oh my God.
I don't want to ruin the party or anything.
Have you seen my ring? Oh my God. Can you look on the floor for my ring? God, John's gonna kill me.
Don't mess with me because I will come.
What? Oh.
Feel free to leave that in for whatever entertainment purposes.
You're in the right place. So thanks for joining me on Besties by Bravo. Hi, besties. Thank you for joining us today, Tuesday, September 24th. Georgio, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Always. I'm very excited for your episode that you went on as one of the quote unquote Bravo content creators on Two Teas in a Pod that's coming out Friday.
Yes, very exciting and very grateful for the opportunity to just for the experience and the exposure, really.
Yeah, honey. I mean, we'll take it, won't we?
Listen.
And you know what, Georgio, this episode of Real Housewives of Orange County was so good. It was so good.
I've been salivating ever since.
I'm so glad I get to chit chat with you about this. I just feel like let's just start. Is there anything I need to cover, really? I mean, I might try and do another gossip episode this week, but y'all, the schedule be scheduling.
It is fall now, so it's, it's ramping up. Caitlin hates fall, apparently.
No, I hate it. I need sunshine. I need a pool. I need hotter weather. Like, when I lived in LA, I was always tired of the 75 sunny and yeah, but I miss it. I miss that. That's what I miss about LA.
Nothing beats a nice LA vibe or a Miami vibe or.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Well, okay. So I just kind of want to start off with Gina going over to Shannon's. And listen, God love Gina. You know how at the beginning of the season she pretended with Katie that they had never seen previous episodes of The Real Housewives of Orange County?
Yes.
Miss Ma'am. Yes, I know Shannon named her company after the 9 lemons in a bowl type of thing. Miss Ma'am, I know you have seen older episodes of Real Housewives of Orange County. Come on. I know you do your homework because she shows up by plucking lemons from the neighbor's tree.
I thought to myself, there's no way that production did not clear that with the neighbors prior to her doing that, because that would get her into a lot of trouble. That is a rental she's in. So let's not, I'm hoping that they did the right thing. Like, hey, we're filming. Do you mind if Gina here takes a couple lemons off your tree to bring to your neighbor who loves lemons for the show? It's going to be funny.
Yeah. Well, if she was going to do it, she may as well just been like, at least let me get a good odd number, like 5, 7, not 2. But it was very Gina to pick the neighbor's tree. Listen, Shannon, we go through all the motions and Shannon gets to the point where she's telling Gina about everything her attorney sent her regarding John Janssen.
Ugh.
Mhm. And her attorney told Johns that they're blackmailing Shannon with these videos. Hello. Hello. Yes. And John's attorney told Shannon's that, quote unquote, John needs an insurance policy in case Shannon goes off the rails. How is it that we are being allowed to actually watch blackmail, extortion? I'm confused as to how this is not coming back on John legally. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, it's really up to Shannon. Shannon could go back after him
Please do.
for, you know, for basically blackmail. I mean, they have it on. I mean, listen, we saw Emily read the definition of extortion. She is in the law, like she gets what that is, and she can
Mhm.
smell it a mile away. And if she was dealing with a case like this, yeah, if it smells like a fish, babe, it's a fish. I'm
Mm.
sorry. Like, the fact that they are presenting it in a way that this is trying to like be an insurance policy for John Janssen in the event that Shannon goes unhinged, which, can we just be clear here? Shannon's never really said anything bad about him except for the fact that she paid for the first half of their relationship, essentially.
Thank you.
Outside of that, she never insinuated that he was some Looney Tune. She never
No.
insinuated anything about his anything outside, but that was something that just came up because her finances were strained and she was just talking about that as part of her storyline. This has gotten to a point where it's become so blatant
Mhm.
that I feel like there's stuff that John Janssen doesn't want Shannon to say that he doesn't really want out. I don't think this has anything to do with his reputation around
No.
whether he pays for dinners and trips and shit. Like, I think this is more to do with there's some there was some toxicity there. I do believe
Mhm.
they both were very dark and toxic when they drank, and they probably spiraled, and there's probably things that he did and said that she excused because she also was blackout drunk.
There you go. That's
That's
the
just a
best.
theory, but I just feel like, why are you going to these lengths if you're not trying to make sure you, like, keep her mouth shut, as Alexis kept saying.
Mhm. It's wild to me. Because let's just go ahead and play the game if roles were reversed and Shannon were like, "Oh, well, I have some videos of John Janssen not being quite so kind and respectable. I need them as an insurance policy." Do you know? Think about it. John would lose his ever loving lizard brain mind. Okay. Sorry, he looked like a lizard when he was on Watch What Happens Live with Alexis. He kept doing like it literally reminded me of that guy from Harry Potter. That was a bad guy. I don't remember the name of the character, but he kept like and John kept doing that in the audience and I was like, "Would you stop?"
He needs a brow lift.
Oh,
That's
he
the
needs a lot of things,
problem.
Giorgio.
No, I'm just being honest. Like, if you're gonna go in and do, like, certain things, like, get the brow lift. Go in for it. You're at that age, it's fine. It's,
Upper
like,
breath.
it's so natural these days, and get a peel. Get,
Do
like, a
something.
CO2 laser. I'm definitely, like, all about CO2 lasers now. Like, I'm almost inching my way to getting one done, but, like,
Oh no, the
he
recovery. I couldn't.
he just, I feel like the issue, and also with that Watch What Happens Live, I don't know if everyone picked up on this, but it was
Mm.
very clear that he was coaching her through
Yep.
her answers the
Yep.
entire time because she kept looking at him,
Nodding
and
her
he kept
head.
like he just had this look in his face like, yep, stick to the script
Yep.
because you jump around too much, you dumb
Mhm.
bitch. Like, I'm just,
Can you
that's
imagine
just,
trying to get Alexis Bellino to stick to a script? For the love of God, could you actually imagine handing her a piece of paper and being like, "This is what you need to say," and trying to keep her on it? By the way, this is not me trying to empathize or sympathize with John Jansen, but my God, I cannot imagine trying to get Alexis to stay on the path.
I just don't think that, like, I don't think she really has her own voice because someone
No.
who continuously, just like with this latest Instagram post, her truth, the truth,
The bad edit.
like, she was pointing her finger when she was writing the post because, she proclaims that all this stuff was cut out, then they're painting her to be horrible. But here's my thing, and I said this in my post yesterday. Yes, everyone can get a bad edit. A bad edit, yes, where they yes, but not to this degree. You're
You had to say
saying
the
these
things.
things. You're saying them.
Mhm.
Like, we're gonna talk about it, but like later in the episode, we watch her completely make a buffoonery of herself,
Oh, so bad.
but she stood on it like with 10 toes down till the end, man. And it's like mind blowing because you're like, what? Are you kidding me? You have no friends because no one has really kind of just
Mm. Giving her a shake of the shoulders, honey.
change churches. You need a more aggressive pastor to like, yeah.
You need
I don't
someone
know.
to put the hand of Jesus on your forehead, sweetheart. We do see that Shannon found out that John is filing the lawsuit against her. And when Emily, Jenn, and Kate are at lunch, Emily makes the point, which, yes, thank you. Emily, listen, she had a few rough moments in this episode, but there were so many moments that were so needed. The things that were said, we really, as an audience, needed them to be said. Like how she points out, if John wants to get his reputation back, this is not the way to do it. And just like you mentioned, she reads in her confessional under the California Penal Code section 518, extortion is a criminal offense. That's why I'm saying, I wonder, it's a criminal offense. It's not just like a personal issue. So where the defendant threatens to expose a secret of another person. And that's part of why I'm like, well, if that's a criminal offense, aren't we watching that happen? Is that really like a civil lawsuit thing? Shouldn't it be that literally he is trying to extort her? And I'll say allegedly because I don't know. I don't know. But
I think it's up to Shannon. I think Shannon could turn
file.
around, call her lawyer, and be like, slam him down with, because she has every right. Now, does she want to spend the money when she just cut
No.
him this big check? Maybe not. She also may not want to drag out all that other garbage that may come out with this because he's clearly someone that is ready to pounce and fight. So she might be like, for the sake of my girls. She's already embarrassed them. You got one floating around in Europe and is just doing the Emily in Paris bit.
Love it,
And
though.
the other two are just like, girl.
Please.
Please.
Like,
Don't move. Don't leave this house.
don't do anything else.
Absolutely not. I would
No
be
more crystals,
stressed.
nothing.
I would be stressed TF if she was my mom after everything that's happened. I wouldn't want to. I would move right the fuck back in, and I would have to just because I just couldn't. I would be so frantic. She's someone that she gets easily swayed and influenced, unfortunately. And
She
that's the
does.
one thing that I always wished better for Shannon was if she could just not get so easily swayed.
Make her own decisions.
Yes.
More so.
Yes, for sure.
Well, it's interesting. It seems like, and later in the episode, when Tamara says it seems like John has a type, whenever it comes to someone being a bit wackadoodle, well, it also seems like John has a type by being with women who are easily manipulated. One could say that. So at this lunch, Emily brings up the fashion show to the other ladies and that she got the size 12 in that dress. And she felt like she looked like she was going to court in her black dress that Alexis wore as well. And she brings up the jeans issue. Now, here's the thing. I will say the only thing for Emily is that as a female, ladies, am I right? We can't always rely on how we physically look when it comes to the size tags on things. When I tell you in some brands, I am literally a size 4. Some brands, I'm a size 6. Some brands, I'm a size 8. Some I'm a small, medium, or large. It does not, there is no justification to it. That is on the fashion brands and the fashion industry not having a set standard. I think for Emily, after the journey she's been on with trying to get into a different shape, and we're going to get more into that, but clothing sizes for women are just all over the place. And typically, depending on the brand, again, the more expensive the clothes are, usually you can go down a size because they want you to buy it if you have the money because it makes you feel good. But usually, it's just, and usually the cheaper the clothes, the more you have to go up in size as a female, at least what I've noticed. Emily reveals to them, though, that she got those testosterone pellets. Hello, soggy flicker. That was a real throwback for me. But this is the only thing that was bothering me is I feel like it was a setup for it to seem like Emily was basically testosterone raging later on when I feel like it invalidates any feelings. Does that make sense?
It does, but I think based on what we, how we know Emily, this is not any different than how she would be around anything that was really sensitive to her.
Right.
We've
I
seen her
agree.
react. I mean, I've seen
Yeah.
her like pretty much inch her way to that volume with Jenn, just simply sitting across the table when she told her to just pay her effing bill. So, I mean,
Yeah. Now really this scene with Tamara, Katie, and their girls, it is interesting how parallel a lot of Tamara and Katie's marriage life story was. They have about the same number of kids equally. And clearly the divorces were super traumatic for these girls, obviously. I loved, though, how Sophia was talking
oh,
about having children. I was like, well, damn, I'm so sorry that it's affected you this deeply, but also like, yeah, girl, it's not getting
oh,
a dog.
listen, I refrain from bringing up any storyline where anyone's kids are involved, even if they're
Mm,
in the scene, unless whatever. But I so badly wanted to touch on that because I thought, wow, unfortunately, through her trauma,
mhm,
she has been so profound and just so logical, because to me, I feel the same exact way.
mhm.
Do not just have a kid and just do the, well, see how it go, like, because that isn't fair. It's
No,
not. I
you
also
can't.
feel like if you financially can't afford a child, I think it's highly irresponsible to then just make your child suffer, because
Mhm.
that's what ends up happening. And I think she was basically saying, in the sense of like, okay, well, this divorce stuff seems to not do so good for folks, specifically not on the kids. So,
Right. Yeah.
and since marriage doesn't seem to work.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like Sophia, it's so funny how opposite she is from Tamara, yet not, because that girl, whenever she's asked to speak her mind, she will speak it, honey. 1000%. God bless Katie and this guy she was seeing, though, who told her he loved her within the first week, tried to gaslight her into saying it back to him, and then gave her COVID and her whole family COVID in turn. Girl, I loved that she was like, as soon as a guy is mean to me, I'm done. Bye. Yes,
That's
girl,
the
that
way
should
it
be the
should be.
standard.
Yeah, but I mean, you know what? It just really depends on what you're bringing into it too. And
Mhm,
unfortunately, I think when you get married as young as Katie did, that's
mhm.
very traumatic, because that's all, and she didn't even want to.
No.
Imagine the day of, I
Mm-mm.
mean,
No.
that's even, to me, I would think is more traumatic. And I was sad for her about her son, but I also
Yes.
understand that that is something that does happen when there's a split like that.
Yes, and I just realized I also said Katie's boyfriend guy. It was Kylie's. I believe that's how you pronounce it because it's Kaili. I meant to say Katie's daughter Kylie's guy she was seeing. Anyway, yes, agreed. It's if y'all knew, today was wow. My son woke up at a Mach 10. And when I tell you the screaming started at 7:30 a.m. this morning, it was like, woo, throws the whole nervous system off for the day. We just woke up having a hard morning. Sometimes we all do, but toddlers let you know in different ways than hopefully adults do.
You should just start screaming Housewives quotes at him when he does that. Just be
You
like,
know,
"There's the door, Shannon Beador," and just see what he'll probably be confused and perplexed and be like, "Okay, I'm out of here."
yeah,
Mom's being weird.
were people doing coke in your bathroom?
That
You
might not
know,
be great that he's in school now if you said
that's
that
what I was gonna
one.
say.
'Cause then he might ask his teacher, "Does she do coke in the bathroom?" And then it's like, "Well, why are you asking?"
I mean, he just wanted to know if there were party favors, I guess.
For going pee-pee in the potty.
Okay, that took a whole different turn that I meant.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Vicki and Shannon, I don't know about you. Did it almost feel sad that they were doing things like trying to tap dance literally for these shows? It kind of was like, is this what we've come to? I'm happy for them that they're doing okay, but like also I was like,
So, a couple things here. Um, Miss Vicky Gunvalson, who is I'm not gonna go anywhere near that show unless I am full time, has been all over this fucking show.
yeah,
And we're gearing up to getting to the end here. So, anyways, friend of you and Shannon switched up the format, except you just replaced Tamara with tap dancing.
look,
I mean, just wrap it up. How many policies are you selling at these shows? We know Vicky throws the QR code up for Kodo Insurance at the end of each show and gives the spiel. Listen, I'm thrilled if anyone's able to pull off any type of show and book it and do that, because that is not easy. But, you know, they're coming off, at least in this episode, it was coming off very like, we are desperate, we are here, and we're gonna make it clear. Like, it just
yeah, I don't disagree. That's why like the tap dancing, I was like, oh God.
when did y'all start tap dancing?
I mean, it's not like it is with like Countess Luann doing all of her things, because we know that girl loves a mic and to sing in it. Okay, she's always loved that.
But
It's
she
a
also
very
doesn't
different feel.
really think she's that good. She just knows that she's got a good shtick, and
Yeah,
she plays a good role at
she's in
poking
on the
fun at her.
joke more.
Yes, and that's why it's so successful, and people are happy to buy tickets to it, even when she gets in trouble. She's still
Yeah,
selling out her burlesque shows because people are like, "Oh, she's in on it with us." We're not like she's not literally thinking she's like getting a Vegas residency, although she probably could at this point with her
I
burlesque
know.
shows, you
Wouldn't that
know?
be fun? Oh, we would have to
Oh my
go.
God.
I would go.
Absolutely.
I would go. Um, mm, let me just tell you, Giorgio, I love my child so much, and so far, no phase has changed how much I love him. What I am terrified of is a teenager that I love as much as my son, and so I cannot imagine having a teenager that acts the way teenagers just act. Period. And Jen with her son Dawson. Oh, okay, Dawes. This kid is staying out past curfew because he's never had a curfew before, and he tells her after she has to ask him to have a conversation with her, and she's like, "Oh yeah, but he said yes. So I'm really glad that he gave me permission to have a conversation with him." He tells her he just sits in his car sometimes because he doesn't want to come into the house. Okay, I'm so sure you were just sitting in that house where a lot of things are legal in California. Come on, bro. No, all of us have been a teenager at some point, and the way you rev that engine, we all know the floppy-haired boys in high school, the cute floppy-haired boys. I trust none of that, young man.
I'm sorry, but this is all Jen's fault.
No, it is also her ex-husband's fault. This is not all Jen's
Sure,
fault.
but if they're living with her and up until her being with Ryan, this was how life was in her house, because it clearly was.
They
The
have only
issue
been living with just Jen for 2 years. They spent the rest of their lives living with both of their parents.
Right, but as soon as they got over to Jen's, my point is there were no rules because
No, we're not blaming Jen totally. No. No
okay, but
way.
if they're under her roof, why is this now coming up and why wasn't it coming up then? Because that would have spiraled really quickly if she was not able to handle that. then he's going to be put in a situation. Well, listen, he's a product of a divorced family
Yeah, and
that
he's
has a
having to
lot of
live with the affair
baggage.
partner along with his mom. So I can only imagine how difficult that is. But at the same time, when
Absolutely.
it comes to kids, sometimes you sit there and you're trusting them, right? And then you realize maybe this isn't working. And as a parent, you implement discipline, and that's the way it goes. Discipline and punishment are two different things. Punishment is things like you go time out, you're grounded, I'm taking this away. Discipline is this is how things are going to be. And here are the consequences, natural consequences, whatever the parenting style. But we are not going to blame Jenn totally for this, because that's another thing that I don't like is when the blame gets put on the mother. There is a father. And in fact, in the teenage years for boys, I believe it's from starts at the age of 12, continues through 16, even beyond that, that the most important relationship for a teenage boy is the relationship with their father. So in fact, it needs to be on Will a whole hell of a lot more than it is on Jenn, because maybe he should have been around more. Maybe he should have been implementing his own style of parenting that he wants to have. But it is not all on Jenn. Now, do I think probably, I don't know. Is it, I hate to give Ryan a single prop in the world. Let me tell you. I hate to.
I think at the end of
But
the
it's good
day,
he's implementing this.
he's a scammy guy, right?
Yeah.
He may be dirty in the gutter with how he runs business, allegedly. But the issue is Jenn never had any grounds to keep any boundaries on any of her kids. That's why one of her kids is riding a motorcycle, essentially,
Jesus.
which is illegal to do. But here we are on camera showing this situation. So you have a situation, yes, where I know it's not, I'm speaking specifically the situation that we understand, which is he is not thrilled with this living with mom bit because
Because she's
she's
implementing
not
discipline.
stable. Is it, or is she
Yeah.
implementing the discipline now because Ryan's bringing it to her attention? And
Both.
now
It does.
the
But at
issue
this
is that
point,
the son is like, you're up my ass.
yeah, but
I'm ready to go back
it's
to
at the point.
dad's.
But at this point, he is a teenager. He needs to have structure and discipline. And sometimes, whether it comes early on when it should or it comes later, it's coming now. And what he needs to do is recognize, or actually, what everyone needs, I think everyone kind of sees it as this. He wants to go over to the 1-bedroom apartment, by the way. Are you kidding me? Will is in a 1-bedroom apartment. He works in like big pharma, is an attorney, and is living in a 1-bedroom apartment. So again, let's stop and take a look. We're giving Jenn a bunch of shit about, okay, the place that she was trying to rent that was too expensive, but he's having visitation time with these kids in a 1-bedroom apartment with 5 kids. Sounds like Will needs to get his shit together too, but he wants to go over there because dad has no rules. That's why. I mean, a teenager is going to go whichever
let
way
him
the wind
go.
blows them.
Then let him go. At this point, there's nothing she's going to do outside of trying to tie him to a post and beat the sense into him, which you're
would
not
be,
allowed to do anymore.
God damn it. This is why I hate teenagers. They anger me so much.
And
They're such
also, the
assholes.
problem is he is also a child of privilege within
Yes,
all
he
that.
is, honey.
So you have that brattiness that most teenagers have that do have that privilege, right? It just comes with the territory. But you have someone like Jenn who, listen, put it in perspective. Do you not think those kids walk all over her and
Oh,
can
yeah.
easily manipulate her emotionally? Look at how she dealt with her lease agreement. She just went off a verbal agreement and then nothing was in writing and now she's in the hole. Like stuff like that, where it's like, okay. And maybe, you know what, to some degree, yes, he's accountable for how he is in someone else's house, because at the end of the day, he's under another person's roof.
Which is
So if
hard.
they're bringing attention to, let's say, Jenn in this situation, because that's who it is,
Mhm.
hey, I don't like people coming in and out of my house after midnight. Like, that's weird on a school
On a school night,
night.
absolutely
So,
not.
like, based on also culturally speaking, and I'm not saying it's just culturally, but even more so culturally, I think where Ryan comes from, where I come from, it was like, if it's 7:30 and you're like, I need to go get poster board, it's the fuck you are. You should have got it earlier. You're not going anywhere. So it's just wild to me that these are even conversations like, hey, can you possibly maybe get home by like 10:30?
Listen, the way I
Like,
would
I'm
have you and I both
I
would
had
have
to
had
get out of the house. Like the tactics I pulled to get out of that house,
Oh, yeah.
there was no conversation to be had.
Where are
So
you going? Why? That's not a good enough reason. Go back to your room.
there was no talking about it. So I know that things are different now, but it sounds like as good as it can be for the mental health, it could also backfire if you're not in control as the parental. But this
I
is
think he needs to
where
see what it's like to go live with dad.
But
Because
it
it
seems
doesn't
like
sound like
he
dad's
already
got
had
his
a
shit
taste
together.
of that. I think he had a taste of that, and I think well, here's the other thing too. His dad is probably not as emotional and is not naggy about wanting to talk through every single bit, right? Because I heard that loud and clear from his side. You won't give me space, right? She's clearly a leech because she feels guilty. Let's be honest. She
Oh
feels
my God,
guilty.
Giorgio. No. A teenager? This is no. I'm gonna be all
Listen.
up in your shit, your business. I trust
Yeah,
teenagers
to a
on a
degree, but if
scale
you're
of
raising a
0 to 100
son,
negative.
yeah, but I think to a certain degree, you do at that age need to they are a human. You can't just be like,
No, they're my baby.
right, but that's where this situation's going to come up then, because then it's going to be a pushback. It's going to be get the hell away from me. And you heard him say, I'm not like, I would like to get close to you like I am with dad. There's an issue there. Right
Yes.
or wrong on who's wrong doesn't matter. Therapy's obviously needed between those two.
Yeah, but I think
Probably
what it
all of
comes
them,
down to,
really.
he doesn't want the rules. And that's
No one
really
does.
he's going through a lot of shit, and I get that. Like, I cannot imagine living in the same home with the affair partner, quote unquote, we'll say, you know what I'm saying here, of my mother that initiated the divorce. Whether this divorce was coming or not is neither here nor there. For those kids, that man is pretty much the cause of the divorce between their parents. That's really, I mean, it would be hard as a child who doesn't have the logic of an adult, let's say, to not look at it that way. And at the end of the day, buddy, you're in high school. You you do not stay out past midnight. Like, if I were going anywhere on a school night, unless it was a school activity, you better believe my ass had better be in that house by like 9 p.m. or special permission for 10 p.m. I mean, come on. It's
Listen,
just,
my quick tip was always this. Go out, come home before curfew, go to bed,
oh my
skip
God.
out the window and leave again, just come back. This is what I did. I mastered the mastering of
You were
like
so much
sliding in and
braver than
out.
me.
Oh,
No,
I
you were
didn't
so much
care.
braver.
It was like, you don't get it. My dad was spotlight central on the house. Every corner, every movement. It was like,
No,
so I just was like, as soon as I got out of the house,
it didn't exist.
well, and also back then we had cell phones, obviously, but
Right.
they weren't like
Yeah.
you weren't as reachable because you could always like, oh, I didn't bring it inside with me, like whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So what I would just if I could just make it out of the house and get into my car, I
Oh
would
my
just
God, you would even take your car?
absolutely. Oh, yes, I would. Because here's why. I would deal with the consequences when I got back. I just had to go. There there was no way. I was like, and I did it every time.
Giorgio, did I tell you the story about how I found out there was a GPS tracking system on my car? Yes, this was in 2006.
My dad paid someone that used to work for him to follow me one time because that's how my dad knew where I was going.
That's a little different. Yeah, no, and yeah, my friend and I,
Yeah, he didn't play no games. If he wanted
yeah,
to find out, that's why I just was like, I get it these days with like the teenagers and they
it's
have a lot
different.
more freedom. It's a different time. I mean, if I'm honest, it was a lot more fun back in the day when you had to like work for like it felt
Yeah.
like you achieved like some sort of success because you got out anyways.
Mhm.
I just aged myself. But
Listen,
these
we
kids
had our
nowadays,
Nokias. We had our Nokias. We had our sidekicks. I mean, yeah, I
they
will
need
just
to
never forget my friend.
bring Sidekick back like they did the Motorola Razor. I don't know how they'll do it, but absolutely need to get a reboot on the Sidekick.
I kind of agree, but it was kind of bulky.
I don't give a shit. I loved that fucking
You
phone.
just want to be like Paris.
Ooh,
You just want to get your Paris
I
vibes
left
again.
Verizon and went to, what was it called at the time?
T-Mobile.
Simply Wireless. No, it was Simply Wireless or Simply Mobile or something before T-Mobile acquired it.
You had to
And
have
then it was like,
T-Mobile for.
yeah. So we switched
Mhm.
over, and I remember my mom and I made my mom like, this is gonna be better in the long term. We just get a
Oh, yeah.
family plan, because they had the family plan too. That was like a new thing, and I finally got the Sidekick, and it was also because of the hills in Laguna Beach, because they
Yeah.
had the Sidekicks too. So I
Of
was like, what the
course.
are they flipping? And I was like, done with my flip phone. I was like, there's a full-on keyboard.
Let's go.
This is lit. Then I sent it to the Crystal
Yeah.
company that everyone was sending theirs to, and got it Crystal. I think it was called New York City Peach. Shout out, they're the OGs in blinging out phones. Like they
There was no
literally
Etsy then.
and I don't even know how people did this, but you'd send your phone to them, and it would take them 3 weeks to do it and then send it back. So you were without a phone for like a month.
Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah. That was a time, y'all. There was no Amazon Express shipping. There was no
There was no
next
shipping
day
express
nothing.
anything. It was like, bitch, you're gonna wait for this horse to bring it to Ohio, and then a truck's gonna bring it over by maybe next Tuesday, maybe.
Maybe. What we mean is next Friday. Yeah, no, the GPS thing, I was out all night with one of my girlfriends. It was a really shitty night, let me tell you. We didn't go anywhere fun. Okay. And it was New Year's Eve, the night before New Year's Eve. And we're driving back from IHOP because we were like, well, we can't go back to one house or the other house. And we're on a back road in Oklahoma, in Edmond. And at 6 a.m., who do I see but my mother at the 4-way stop sign? And I went, oh my God, it's my mom. It's my mom. It's my mom. Well, we go back home and we're like, okay, here's our story. We went to the movies. We did this. We did that. I still remember the story to this day. I kept denying it. She kept giving me chances to tell the truth. And finally she goes, get your ass in my bedroom. She had printed off everywhere I was at each time. And it was like, can I try again? Please? No? Okay. So back to great parenting, Vicki and Shannon's show. You cannot tell me that Vicki is actually being helpful to Shannon and her image and her attempt to be in a different place with alcohol by starting off the show saying, I would have shot a tequila. We're not driving. And looking at Shannon, do you really think that's helpful to Shannon's image? Vicki Gunvalson, Victoria. So Shannon addresses the DUI, that she's learned her lesson. I know, Georgia, you're like, I'm trying not to even talk about this. Vicki says in confessional that she thinks it's good for Shannon to show people at their shows that she's improving herself, and slips up saying that she can say, I don't drink anymore. Well, I shouldn't say that because she does, but she doesn't drink and drive. She took it upon herself to do what she had to do to be a better person. Okay. Y'all. So before we jump in to the Jen's house of it all with all the other ladies, I want to say hi to a few people here in the YouTube chat. Hi, ATX Mel. Yes, Tay. Sophia was spitting the facts. Jason, I'm not even going to display your content, Jay.
Is that Jay?
Yeah, I'm gonna get in trouble for just.
Oh, I felt like, for some reason, I felt like that might be Jay, because I was like, why is he talking like that? Who is this person talking like this? All spicy.
Looked a little too familiar. Now look at me, I'm blushing. Hi, Annie. Hi, Miriam. And Annie, don't worry if you're late. You still joined, and we're happy to have you. And I did say hi to
Replay,
Miriam.
baby.
Okay. Let's get into the part at Jen's house. Okay. Well,
This pissed me off so much. I just want to preface before we get into this. This
hey, I love it
really
when you have
this
fire.
pissed me off for a multitude of reasons, but
Same. I think we're on the same side here. I think we are. I feel like we are. I hope we are.
I hope
Jen's
so too, man, because we already have the Shannon thing. Well,
no,
now with
I think we're
Jen's
on the same page
parenting.
here. No, I think you and I are going to be on the same page here. I will be shocked if we're not.
I think we are.
Yeah. So Alexis shows up trying to let everyone know she's very teary-eyed already, and Heather's thanking her for coming to the GLAAD Awards. Heather then tells Alexis that she wishes Alexis had brought John because I know it's such a personal thing, and I know how he supports you. And the look Alexis gets on her face, honey, as she looks up and out. Listen, y'all, I may or may not have heard a lot of things about John Janssen, but I don't need any lawsuits. Too bad, Johnny, you don't have any DUI footage of me to extort me into shutting up, but I'll say allegedly I've heard things about how you might view certain types of human beings and the way they were born. Like maybe we aren't so supportive of certain.
Poor Kay. Wow.
Does that put a lot more context into all of this right now?
You know what?
Does that make a lot more sense why Alexis was being that way?
I'm not surprised.
Allegedly.
Listen, if that's the real reason,
It makes sense now, though, doesn't it?
it would. But if that is the real reason, then she's gonna have to sort it out, because you can't have both. You can't be, in my opinion, especially if you're not the parent. You're not coming into my world and then being non-supportive like Billy Bob. No. That's not how that works. But it does in her house if that's true.
But doesn't that add a lot more context and make a lot more sense the way she was acting in that moment? Because she was very pensive, looking up, out a lot. And it wasn't just about this lawsuit. It ain't even her money. So it didn't make sense. Sometimes when something doesn't make sense, you have to just watch the little tiny moments. And we do have to note that he was not at the GLAAD Awards with her, but he was happy to go with her to the Oscars after party that they went to. So it has nothing to do with not wanting to be in the public eye, clearly.
Maybe it was because it was being filmed and he hasn't really shown his face this season.
He's going to film.
He is, but I'm saying up until this point, maybe that's why he didn't do it.
You couldn't do it for a good cause? To support? No, this is to me, this is different. I get it if he's, as much as I can, if he's not wanting to go to a party to film, right? Like, okay. But this was the GLAAD Awards.
But he's a Christian, so he's not in the wrong there. And technically she's a Christian too, so
yeah,
well, not really. But I'm just speaking on the fact that these are the titles. These are the titles we're checking off on the forms, right? I'm just saying, you listen, there are times where, specifically in men, they will hide behind that religious standpoint just to be homophobic or further their misogynistic ways and thinking patterns. And we see it all the time.
Yeah, there are men like that out there.
There is, and it's a real thing. And I think if that is true, if it's not because he didn't want to be on camera or get sucked into some sort of like crazy drama, which is a possibility.
Sure.
But if what you're basically kind of walking around here is if that's
wondering.
True,
or wondering if it's true.
If it is, then in my mind, that's going to be a huge problem, I would think, for Alexis and her child, because that's gonna put a wedge in the relationship. Maybe not so much now, but the more and more she'll want to integrate things inclusively. And if he isn't on board with that, is he just going to sit it out every time there's something involving something specific in that regard? That
You don't
would be
support my child. You don't support me. And I do not want anything to do with you, is the way I would feel.
Oh, I would just send my kid off to the dad then. Just work on the relationship. I mean, you only meet a good man once or maybe twice. She'll be okay.
Honey, they make plenty of good vibrators out there. You don't need that man that badly to put up with that bullshit. Let me just tell you.
Some would say those toys are ruining it for the men out there, is what I've been hearing on those
Thank
man
God.
podcasts, those straight men podcasts.
The angry men.
Those toys with all the limbs and branches that move at the same time is really making it hard for the fellas.
Why did I just picture one of those car wash silly
what
guys?
was that? What is that what it does?
No, when you said all the limbs, I pictured one of the car wash silly guys.
Something's on
What do you
sale
call
today.
No, like what do you call that? I don't know what you call those things. The blow up guy. Okay, I'm done.
Yeah, they usually have them in the dealerships.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The dancing thing. Yeah. So, okay. In the end, though, Alexis blames all of her issues, every bit of emotional drama she has going on Shannon and all the legal shit. And here's the thing, too. When Emily went on Jeff Lewis Live, she gave a lot more context why Tamara freaks out yelling at Alexis. What happened, bitch? God. Just fucking say it.
They made it seem like she literally just said it once and she was like, what? And it's like you find
No,
out
you
it's been
could
like
tell.
6 hours of her just being like, I can't.
That's apparently what happened. Like you're saying here, like they literally were sitting there for a long time being like, what is it, Alexis?
Well, because people are hoping that this isn't going to take all night because they want to get home and get to their lives. But now she comes in, she's got to make this whole thing about herself.
She has all the time, honey.
She's on another planet. Like she really is, man. I have to say.
She said, babes, I got all the time in the world. But I love how on Jeff Lewis Live, Emily mentioned that literally it made no sense because John filed the lawsuit. They handed the lawsuit directly to People magazine. And so Emily was like, well, if you didn't want it to be so public, then why did you go ahead and file and hand it directly to People magazine? Because John Janssen's so private, guys. Oh, lizard lips over there.
It's really just it's a clown show, those two. And it's not just her. It's him. He's the puppeteer.
It's the same Horse and Johnny show.
She's the willing and able body that's going to do his work. And he's, like I said, Watch What Happens Live was a very weird.
It was creepy.
Like, that was just weird. Like, it almost seemed like you were there to watch her in action so that she wouldn't say something that would like throw off whatever this is that you're trying to like put out.
Like the puppet, just literally like,
yeah,
John had his hand up her ass.
She's like, we need to give her, I feel like she needs like an exorcism.
Well, she tried to give a Jenga.
There's something, I'm telling you, there's something in that dick. Makes them crazy. Look at Shannon. You know what?
Makes him nuts.
There's energy in that stuff. He's got some bad juju or something. Got him all.
We can call it that. We can call it that. Mm-hmm.
Well, dick ain't that good to be driving into a house. I'll tell you that.
Never couldn't. No, I hope not. Tamara and Emily get up to pee because they can't take it anymore. Gina points out in her confessional that she doesn't understand why Alexis and John won't move on from it at all. So Alexis starts crying and she's telling Gina that she told Johnny we weren't supposed to meet this soon. We were supposed to meet 6 months later. And Alexis says in her confessional that she had just lost her mom, which is terrible. And she had just broken up with her fiance. And the baggage of this relationship, as in Shannon, that's one way to say it. Shannon and John. That was an accident, I swear. Just follows her everywhere she goes. Alexis, it follows you everywhere you go because you came on the show as a friend of, and it's the only thing you will fucking talk about.
That and banging Johnny J.
I think her point is that in her Instagram post, and I don't care because it doesn't make any different. It doesn't make me change my perspective on how she's acting, because even if you cut out all the good stuff that you're bringing to the table, this would just kind of toss that stuff off into the garbage for me anyway, because it's like, I don't care how supportive you are of your child if you're doing shit like this. This doesn't really equal out the display of like good character model. So I think she is really, really trying. Look, she was really happy to be back on the show.
Yes.
So she was going to take every chance and opportunity that the cameras were on her to really make it about her, because she knew if I could just get in there. And I really think she thought going into this season, everyone was going to hate Shannon.
Yep.
Because of the DUI, she was going to come in stomping in the way she did, thinking she was going to be a fan favorite. Like everyone's going to be like, yes, girl. Yes, Jesus Jugs, you get her. And instead, after the first episode, it backfired and then slowly kept backfiring. And now they are just making her look horrible. So I guess this is AI Alexis, which I just talked to earlier. I sent you a clip.
Oh
She's
my
pissed
God.
off
It's
at me.
creepy.
She's
It's
pissed
creepy.
off. She's not happy with me.
It's so freaking creepy. I'm telling
It is
you.
creepy. It actually really is.
We'll have to play that at some point. Okay, so for those of you listening on audio, this is going to be the end of part 1, and we are going to go into part 2. This is for audio. YouTube, you get to hang out with us. Okay, so starting part 2 for our audio listeners. This is what happens when it's live, my friends. Okay, we're going to just pick right back up with where inside, when Alexis is crying out there saying she should have met Johnny J 6 months later, Emily tells Tamara, listen, Emily, it's from this moment on. She is literally, you want to talk about being 10 toes down. She is on point. She's ready to go. Even if there is some over emotional moments. Okay. I am team Emily Simpson all the fucking way. All right. I want to make that very, very clear.
1000%.
Yes. See, I told you we'd be on the same team. I'm so glad. I love it. Emily tells Tamara, honestly, I was kind of relieved that we wouldn't have Shannon here tonight because I thought we can have a good night. But this is Whackadoodle. We are at Whackadoodle Town. I got a wrong ticket to Whackadoodle Town. She's like, Emily's already been pushed to the brink. She's one of those people, don't sit there and waste her time. Get to the point. If you're going to talk about something, talk about it. Don't skirt around like apparently or allegedly, whatever you want to say, Alexis was doing for the last hour or two, not telling the women what was going on. And maybe she didn't even actually tell them what was going on, because maybe it wasn't actually about Shannon and the lawsuit and the bullshit that they are bringing onto themselves, as in her.
No,
Johnny
I think
J.
Emily said and on the radio show that she said eventually that it was pertaining to the lawsuit being filed, but she didn't go too much into it. And it was probably because of the People magazine article, because it would obviously not look good if she brought that up and acted like whatever, because how would People magazine have gotten a hold of it that same day? Like, come on. So, Emily's not dumb to this. She just sees it for what it is. And I think the one thing that makes Emily a great housewife is she shows up, she gives us the funny, the parts of her that is needed for the show, but then she just unhooks and becomes a real person again. Like, she's not stuck in the loop of like, she's not a housewife robot, if that makes sense. Like, she can see what's going on. Like, she's not going to sit there and pretend like that's not happening and not say it.
She's not performative.
No.
Nothing about Emily ever feels actually performative. You can tell when Emily's kind of like, okay, I guess I have to do a scene. And it's almost like she has a way of doing it that it almost feels like she's winking at you. Like, yes, I know I have to do this. I don't even really know what the tell is. You can feel it. Like, it's a gut instinct with authenticity. And I think it's the type of authenticity when it comes to Emily. She's wanting you to know, hey, I know. Okay, here's what I'm doing, but I'm going to do it.
I know I'm on a reality show.
Yes.
Just want y'all to know that. Like, totally.
What the hell was Alexis? Was Alexis trying to talk like Gina, by the way, after Tamara's like, so John has a type when it comes to crazy wackadoodle towns? Alexis saying to Gina,
I wanna have fun with everybody tonight.
were you trying to talk like Gina? What the fuck were you doing? Are you Australian? Are you like you're not a child of the world?
You guys, I swear to you, I think they threw a robot in there and just called her Alexis Lino. She is literally
Glitching.
just twitching out, and whoever talks to her, she mimics their vocal like everything. It was weird. Unless she was drunk or something, and that's how she sounds when she's drunk, because she was like clearly drinking. She was there for 3 hours before she spilled the tea.
Yeah.
But it was just Gina also just felt like I need camera time and she's wackadoodle. So I'm going to go sit over there and pretend like I give a shit about what she's saying about, because Gina didn't care. Gina did not care one bit.
Gina was
at
just
all.
like, oh my fucking God, I'll earn my paycheck as best I can right now, for crying out loud. Because then also Alexis goes,
We're gonna go touch up and then we're gonna come back.
and even Gina's like, what is with your accent? She said something like,
Who
oh, the
is
accent.
that? Like, I know. Like, why are you talking like that?
Weirdo. Okay. So I really like my notes just literally say, is Alexis fucking okay? Like, no, I kind of like your theory. They threw in a robot and she was glitching or something. What else makes sense at this point? It was okay. So Tamara and Emily hide in the kitchen when they see Gina and Alexis coming in. And listen, Emily is so over Alexis at this point. You can see her eyes. And Emily, when she kind of gets her mouth will kind of open and she starts shifting her eyes when she's like, I'm holding it in. I'm holding it in. And honest to God, Alexis is off of her goddamn Jesus Jugs rocker. Because when they're playing the Jenga thing with the questions and Alexis picks one that says, who do you hate? I don't know. It's like the robot version of Alexis. It's like beep, boop, be happy, go Lexi. And then she goes, the devil. Fuck you, devil. You're going in the fire because I'm a good fucking Christian.
Bitch, you're in the fire. What do you mean? Like, what?
Can you answer something for me though? How was that not a real fire? It was a fire. Why did they tell her it wasn't a real fire?
Because it's not it's not a fire that's meant to burn wood.
Okay.
So they were letting her know, throwing a real piece of wood in there. There's no ventilation for smoke.
Thank
you. You're going to burn this fucking place down.
Thank you. See,
Yeah.
I needed an adult to explain it to me. I don't know. I don't go around throwing things randomly into fire.
No, neither do I. So it was really astonishing that she would do something like that.
That was so bizarre. Okay. So anyway, what is Tamara's obsession with buttholes this season? By the way, I need it to stop. Tamara pees right on the concrete.
Yeah. She just went right for it.
Yeah. So after all of this, Tamara asks Heather when the fashion line with Susan Bender is coming out. And Heather is very much just like downplaying it. Oh, it's just very limited. It's not going to be that big of a thing. But it prompts Emily. And I think part of the problem is it's been eating at Emily so much for so long. She couldn't hold it any further. And I got to love our Ohio in our Emily, because she says to Heather when Heather asks for our measurements, that whole thing. Emily points out that Heather had asked her to bring jeans and that she thought that everyone else would be bringing jeans and that it bothered her that she was the only one at the end not wearing Susan Bender pants. I get that. And so she had a little moment over it and cried in the bathroom. And Emily is getting emotional. And Heather just starts looking at her like, kind of like a parent does to a toddler.
Yeah, it was pissing me off. This is where I was getting pissed off. And I was like, you know what? She's not blaming Heather. Like, I don't care. That's not why she was telling her this. I think she was just saying it to her because you're supposed to be my friend and I'm being vulnerable after we've been sitting here for 6 hours waiting for Alexis to tell us that a lawsuit is going to be filed for Shannon and how this impacts her. And she's already broken. Whatever. I'm going to get this out. I was really upset, blah, blah, blah. And then
Mhm.
here you have Heather immediately. I'm so sorry.
It felt
Mm.
condescending.
It was
It did.
condescending because immediately you could tell Heather was in defensive mode. Like, you're trying to make me look bad. You're trying to basically insinuate that I fat shamed you at this fashion show. And
Mhm.
that's not at all what Emily was saying. But
And
it just felt
yeah.
like Heather was just not going to receive it.
No, it was just surface level for Heather. And the thing is Heather, I'm sorry, but she has that like skinny privilege that she's been skinny her whole life, really. And maybe I'm not saying she hasn't had to work for being skinny in one way or another, but she doesn't know what it's like to be one of the bigger people in the room in your own perspective. She doesn't. And I'm not even saying I fully grasp that, but I have been in a room where I felt like the bigger person in the room. And no, it's not the same for everyone, but if you don't have that feeling, then you don't know what she's talking about. And especially, for Emily, yes, was she projecting her, body image issues, her insecurities onto Heather? Yes. But at the same time, I didn't hear her fully blaming Heather until it had escalated so much that Emily was having to be so defensive. You know what I mean? That it was like, no, you won't hear me out. What I'm saying is this. And so then it came off, I think, to Heather and some of the other women that it was Emily blaming Heather, but I never took it that way. I felt like Emily was just trying to be heard, saying, look, this is how I'm feeling, because it also stems from last year, Heather calling her Snuffleupagus.
Listen, here, it's pretty crystal clear. It's not hard. Emily, bless you, Emily,
Thank you.
okay, we all know her fitness journey, and we know how hard she's been working and still
Yes.
working to maintain
Mm,
her physique, which, let's be honest, I'm not just saying this to say it. I always thought she was beautiful.
absolutely.
And I'm not just saying, I think she always had a banging body. Like, she just was blessed with being a natural hourglass shape, no matter what the size, right?
Yep.
So good on that for her. But that doesn't mean that she doesn't have insecurities around that stuff.
Right.
And there's a thing as well where you have, this issue where you may not see yourself the way others have seen you in your journey. And
Well, because when you
you've
start
made the
that,
results because your clothes are fitting differently, you're wearing smaller sizes, whatever the case is. In a situation like this Susan Bender fashion show, the issue lies in that Emily was conveying that, look at how everything was set up for me, and understand why those things upset me. Not, Heather, you specifically set me up by telling me to bring jeans, and you knew that you were going to put Alexis in a size 2 version of the same dress that you gave me in size 12, and you were just trying to make me look bad. And quite honestly, if she wanted to be a bitchy housewife, she could have gone in that route and leaned
she
into
could have.
that. But she was just literally just saying exactly what I said. Can you not see how that would trigger me?
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing too, is like, I think people are going, well, Emily's just over projecting her insecurities. She's lost all this weight. She looks great. Yes. But also something that happens whenever you are on, like, say, a fitness journey, the body that you had gotten used to, you are now, even though it's in a different shape because of the work you've put in, you're now scrutinizing every angle differently because you're trying to, especially if you're going to the gym lifting weights, you're trying to customize your body to be the shape you want it to be. So you're constantly analyzing your angles, things like that, to see if the exercises you've been doing for the last 4 weeks are actually working. And it's not even that you're just picking yourself apart. You're trying to see what's working and what's not too. So it's so much more than it just being about a pair of jeans and a dress that was a size 12, which, again, I have to say, when it comes to women's clothing sizes, I mean, the fashion industry in general does us so freaking dirty. Y'all get, unless it's like a dress shirt, y'all get small, medium, large, and it fits the same. For us, it's like some shirts come in a 4, some come in a 6, some come in a 14, a 12, and a 10. And then some of them it's small, medium, large, extra large, or small, medium, medium, large. So it's like, it's mind blowing how different there's no consistency in sizing. And that is where I think the biggest issue lies here. Okay, I'm off my soapbox, but Here's where the problem starts for Emily, is that everyone jumps in to start defending Heather. And it's understandable that they are, because they're taking it the same way Heather is. Okay. At that moment, that's the way they're taking it, which is fine. But no one lets Emily get in that moment that she's not actually saying she believes Heather did this intentionally. That's all anyone keeps saying at her. They're throwing this at her. Well, Heather would never. No one did that. And Emily keeps trying. You could hear her voice having to go up and up. You just hear her saying, I'm not saying that Heather did this malicious. I'm not trying to blame. And she can't even finish a sentence. And it ends up becoming, because you know how it is, like whenever you're just trying to be heard and you're not even yelling because you're angry, you're yelling because you're trying to have someone hear you. And then that physical act gets into you emotionally. And then suddenly it's, I'm yelling because you're yelling. And I think that's exactly what happened at this point, because no one would let Emily finish what she was saying. God forbid she finished a sentence clarifying, I'm not saying Heather did this. It was just such a game. I was saying this last week on the episode I did when you weren't able to join, was that like the game of telephone in this group is so intense. And it even happens when no one's whispering in each other's ear and they're all in the same room. I mean, that game of telephone of like, Jesus, just like take turns or something. And I know we're used to this, but it was kind of frustrating to watch that. And I honestly, if I were Emily, I would have been like, if y'all don't shut the fuck up and let me finish a sentence here and let me clarify, because she was trying to speak to her, I think, from a vulnerable place. And here's the thing too. We're going to get to this point eventually here in just a minute. But if Heather had just been calm and not defensive, this would have played out totally differently. But she didn't. And again, Emily finally gets to explain, look, after Heather's like, I made sure you had 3 changes because I basically wanted you to be the star of the show, which to me also felt condescending. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to just like say Heather can't do anything right, but it did not feel, I don't know.
It was not authentic. None of it was authentic. Heather didn't think through any of it. She didn't want to hear Emily be vulnerable. She took it defensively because she was more concerned about how this would make her look on the show, that she would come off as a fat shamer. And she knows that that also is going to affect the sales of the Susan Bender collab. That's what she's concerned with.
Yeah.
And when it comes to the other ladies chiming in on Heather's behalf, that's more of, if we don't step up and visibly Heather's upset and we don't come to her defense, she will come for us. Yeah, she will, because she counts her bodies and she watches the room. So if you're not going to defend her, then it's up for you. So I think naturally, instinctually, the women just are like, oh. No, she would never do that. Like, because I'm just saying.
Yeah. No, I know. I agree. You can see that turn that's happening in Heather after she puts her hand over her heart. I'm so sad that you feel that way. That is not an apology. An apology is, I am so sorry that what transpired, even if you don't feel that you have to take responsibility, but you can say something like, I am so sorry that what transpired caused you to feel that way. I am so sorry that anything that was done on our behalf made you feel as though we were shaming you or singling you out. And guess what? It's very simple. It's a very simple thing, because if she had actually said something aside from, I'm so sad you feel that way, Miss Ma'am, that's like saying, I'm so sad you don't feel skinny. Like, it just, and you could see it come out whenever Emily was still just feeling misunderstood. I think that's what it came down to. Emily felt misunderstood. And that is such an awful feeling. It really is, because the more you try and explain yourself, the less understood you feel, especially in a situation like that. And that's when Heather's getting her testy. You knew. As soon as Emily tried to explain again and Heather went, my turn. It was like, oh shit, here we go.
No, it's like, then fuck off. I'm not talking. I'm glad she did that to her. Like, no, bitch, you're not gonna tell me to pipe down because it's your turn to talk when I'm talking. You're gonna wait. And I'm glad Emily stands her ground with Heather
I do too.
because yeah, no, someone's got to. She runs all over those women to some degree, and some more than others, Gina. But like it's ridiculous, and it didn't need to go that way.
No.
And it also with regards to how Alexis inserted herself the entire time made Emily look like she was going off the rails even more unnecessarily. But in fact, it's like, no, bitch, you made us wait. It's late. I need to get this out.
It's time.
I want to get home at some point. So I want to tell Heather what's up. Like, you've taken up so much room and you're not even a full-time cast member.
No, ma'am.
Why are we sitting here waiting for you?
Well, Emily tells Heather after Heather's like, I wanted you to feel like a fucking rock star. Emily's like, look, I didn't even feel good in the dress because Alexis was next to me in the same dress. That is all Emily said. And we even got a rollback of the tapes later on. Okay. After Bird Brain keeps inserting herself. And when Katie tries to point out that Emily was put in a size 12 of this exact same dress that Alexis was in a size 2. And up until this point, for the most part, I am seeing both sides. I'm understanding both sides, that Heather seems caught off guard by this and that Emily is desperately trying to just explain how she's feeling, all of it. Now, then we get to Heather's confessional and that all flies out the window because I swear to God, look, was it fair for Heather? I don't think Heather had anything to do with the sizes that the women were given. I think that was Susan Bender, from what it sounds like, and who in her team. That's what it sounded like to me. But she's saying, it's not fair. I didn't size the dresses. But in confessional, Heather says, they gave me their measurements. I sent them to Susan Bender. They chose the appropriate size. And I have news for you. The dress was tight on Emily. It wasn't too big. Oh my God.
So there you have it, folks, in a nutshell. Like, I don't give a shit.
I could not believe that came out of her mouth.
So, here's the thing. Alexis, you wanted so badly to be a part of that you quite literally made up a whole thing just to be a part of it. You made it seem like Emily was like, why would you put me in a dress with that bitch? That's not what she said. She also didn't blame you for anything. I'm so confused why she kept inserting herself that way. Like, it was just unreal. Like, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, most of the people were like, she's not.
She heard nothing, though. Alexis heard nothing if it didn't have the name Alexis in the sentence. She doesn't hear it.
Her producer must have riled her up before every single scene. You better get in there. You better get the camera time. You want to make this work, don't you, Alexis? You do want to be back on the show, right? Right? She's like, yeah. Fuck Shannon.
You want that Johnny J redemption arc?
I fuck Johnny J 4 fucking times a day. How about that, bitch? Like, it's just like, oh my God.
Like, fucking relax. I mean, she is literally pretty incoherent in certain points of this. Like, when I was taking the notes, how she was like, Alexis, after she was like, well, Heather did apologize. And then she says to Emily, and now you're claiming me about comparing to you. That is literally what she said. And Emily looks at Alexis. She's like, I don't even know why you're talking. And Alexis doesn't even know either, because all she can say is, no, because you just said, because you're next to me in that dress. I did nothing in this at all.
We know. We never said. That's the problem. She was too in it at that point. She couldn't just back down and be like, oh. So she had to just keep doing the same. Like, she had to keep pushing it forward, man. And God love her, because no, truly, I hope he does. Because her God would have to. That is a mess. That is a mess and a half. I wouldn't even want her to make me a cup of damn coffee because half of it would be spilled before it got to me. She's too. It
No,
goes back to
honey,
that
it would be cold.
question
She would have
that
talked your ear off
Jennifer
first.
asked her back at Big Bear.
That's what I'm saying.
Like,
it would have been cold. She would have talked your
Do
ear
you
off
drink
before you
Red
got that
Bull in the
coffee.
morning usually? Huh.
Somehow we found out about her early menopause.
Right. So like that's what's her mind is. That's why I'm thinking this is a robot. I don't think this is the real Alexis.
You know
And
what?
I
I
think
think that's a
Johnny
great
J,
theory.
Johnny J invested in a model that looked like her and was like, this is going to be my way to salvage my reputation with AI Alexis.
Honestly, Alexis, AI, that's something about it flows. I think you're onto something here.
Maybe we should talk to her later.
Call her up, Georgio, please. No, really, call her.
You want me to? I will right now.
Call her. Call
She's
Alexis.
very active. I'm serious.
Go ahead, call Alexis.
Well, so I have her in here as Jesus Jugs. So let me see.
There's some.
She's probably still annoyed. We'll ask her. She's been
Well,
annoyed
wait.
with
Now
me.
we're gonna have to flag this video for AI if we do it.
Yes, just a disclaimer. This is Jesus Jugs AI Alexis AI. This is not Alexis Bellino. Just please, guys. Anyways, all right, let's call her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, call her up.
Hi, honey. Are you still pissed at me?
Oh, look who's decided to show up. And yes, I'm still pissed at you. What do you want now?
I'm on Caitlin's Besties by Bravo podcast, and we were just talking about you. And
Hey, Jesus Jugs.
you know, we were just saying that maybe you're not showing yourself in the best light.
So now you're going to badmouth me on a podcast? It's just great, Georgio. I'm sure the whole world is just dying to hear your perspective on my life. And honestly, do you think I care how I'm represented on some podcasts? I'm living my truth. And if people can't handle that, they can take a hike.
Okay, bye, Alexis.
Okay, we're going to let you go, honey.
Y'all, it's wild. It's
Oh, you're going to let me go?
It's wild.
How gracious of you. And what makes you think I was waiting for your permission to hang up anyway?
Bye,
Bye.
Alexis. Now I'm getting a phone call. Oh my God. I thought I had my stuff on silent. Jeez, y'all. Who is calling me at this time of day? Okay. We're back. I literally have to pick my son up in like 15 minutes. So we're going to get through
I
this.
was just going to say, what about McCoy? He's going to
Yeah.
have to walk home today.
The way he was acting this morning might do him some good. But eventually it gets to this point where Alexis inserts herself again and she's like, Heather did apologize. And Emily looks at her and goes, you shut up. My God. Alexis, you are dumb as hell. She stands up and goes, did you just tell me to shut up? Yes. You just brought me into this. I'm not going to shut up. For the love of God. Love of God. And Emily looks at her and she goes, you're a whackadoodle. You've been a whackadoodle all night. That was like the nicest way she could have called her a complete and total fucking idiot.
You have no idea how badly I wanted to pee my pants during that latter part of the episode because you just don't even know. Like, that is just some real ass shit. Like, she was just like, I don't care if the cameras are on, bitch, you're annoying. Shut up.
It was so good. It was like all of us have been dying for one of them to stop pretending they actually want to be friends with Alexis at this point.
The thing is, too, the good thing is that when Emily walks in, she immediately is like, Heather, don't look at me like that. Like, bitch, don't give me the stare down like a disappointed mother. Like,
oh my God. But wait.
And I will, because I'm disappointed.
The only thing I got to go back to, Alexis calling herself a broken bird.
Girl, okay. Listen, I have the deepest empathy for her losing her mother. I
1000%.
really do. And I don't care. I would never, ever take that away from anyone. That is difficult beyond words. But
Agreed.
outside of that, no. And if you are, go mend your wings. Stop riding Johnny J's dick and trying to like shuffle out his message for the show to like salvage his reputation.
Stop being his soldier. His broken birdie soldier.
She's literally ready to go to war every single time she's getting mic'd.
I mean, she really thinks she is. It's wild to me. Well, and then, but Heather inside after Emily and Gina decide that they're gonna go, because Gina's like, okay, we end a paycheck. At least you did, Emily. Let's go. Come on, we're done. Heather inside, the look on her face when she gets at, like, she wasn't yelling at Tamara, but you know, in Tamara's face, saying to her, "You're telling me that when I'm throwing an event for family equality, that she's in the bathroom crying because I made her bring jeans? Are you telling me that's what happened?" And then Alexis's dumb ass starts in too. And by the way, she tries to throw me into it by saying, and you put me in a dress next to her? I'm not fucking, I didn't know. What?
Not my fault. I'm the skinny. My God, why am I being attacked?
AI Alexis, do you know when, y'all, this is a fact. When Georgio was playing me, some of the our Jesus Jugs AI earlier today, I was like, you know what? She sounds a little too intelligent. She needs to sound like someone who is reading from a teleprompter, but the teleprompter is going just slightly too fast for them. So their brain is always about a sentence or two behind.
We don't need it to be that close for legal purposes. We can have it
Fair.
clearly
Fair.
be a little AI soundy.
Yep.
Just
But
to
yeah.
keep people
Keep people guessing. Yeah. So we don't.
otherwise it's going to be a headline that I'm like bloggers phone call
Oh,
with
Jesus.
Alexis goes like awry or something. And it'll be like,
No,
great. No, do it. No, I'm kidding.
Oh my God. But yes, back to what you were saying, where Emily looks at Heather and she's like, "You don't have to look at me like that." I was dying for someone to bring up Evil Eye. I was dying. I needed a throwback moment, but Heather, I can look at you how I want because I'm upset. And I swear to fucking God, Emily and Heather are at a point where maybe they were about to resolve it. Maybe.
They could have in that moment. They could have at least put it to bed for the night.
Agreed. But Alexis, bird brain dizzy bitch Bellino, butts in. "No, you kept it going." And that's when Emily is ready to knock the bobblehead off that body. "I didn't ask you." All Alexis can say back is, "I didn't ask you." Shut the fuck up, Jesus Christ. "I don't give a shit what you say." And then Emily, our queen, pulls fucking rank, y'all. I'm sorry, I'm like, no, it's like I'm starting to understand how dudes feel when they watch football.
I'm not into sports, but let me tell you something. If she was out there in the ring, man, I would put that cheerleading skirt on, my pom-poms, and my ass would be jumping the fuck around.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Team Simpson.
Oh my God. I mean, I felt like I was watching the Super Bowl for a second. Not quite, but like it was a playoff game.
I wanted a glass of champagne after watching that. I was like, wow, I need something. I don't smoke anymore. So
Need a cigarette and a
yeah, I need a Capri 120 or something.
Oh, honey. Because she yells at Alexis, "You're not involved in this. You're a friend. Shut the fuck up." It's like, and then she yells, "Shut up, Alexis. Go fuck John some more, you fucking idiot."
You know what? Was it nice? No.
Oh, but it was deserved.
But are we at the point of worrying about whether things need to be nice?
No,
How much
honey.
do we need to rev someone up? Look, I'm telling you right now, I've never felt more connected to a housewife than watching Emily pop off.
It was good. It was
She was
good.
like, I am done. I'm going to give you guys something because I'm leaving after this. And let me make it good. Bitch, you are a piece of shit. Now take this fucking mic off because I want to go home.
You said, "I am fucking done."
Sick of these hoes.
And then we see Right. Next week, Ryan and Jen are going to actually make an attempt at going off on Eddie and Tamara, which, listen, Eddie is so chill, but he very much comes off as the type that don't piss him off. You know what I'm saying?
The
Just
ones
don't.
that are logical and quiet most of the time are the ones that have had to work really hard at staying the course. So if you piss them off, yeah.
Mm-mm.
9
Mm-mm.
times out of 10, you will get your ass handed to you and you won't even see it coming because you're not used to them being any type of way like that.
He will say, what heart condition?
Yeah.
Serious.
Yeah.
Before we go, let's say hi to a few more friends who have joined the chat here. Remember, friends, if you're watching on YouTube live, join the chat. Be a part of the conversation, okay? Hi, April. We are having a good day. And hi, Danny. Good to see you. And yes, Oriel, we all loved that sidekick, honey. We felt so cool with it. And April, yes, Emily is like right up there with our sidekick spirit animal person. Oh, hi, Jeff. Good to see you. And yes, Danny, y'all go check out our friend Jenny, Bravo and Blaze. She had a really fantastic interview with our resident bestie, Georgio.
So much fun. I
Yes.
hadn't caught up with her since BravoCon, so it was a really nice chat. Also,
Yes.
speaking of Danny Gossip Girl, shout out to you for your new podcast that came out
Yes.
today, I believe. So congrats.
Go you.
Congrats to everyone. Fuck it.
Yes, absolutely. I've been loving like the graphics you've been having, like with the tapes and stuff, Danny. It's really cool over on Instagram.
Oh my God, I'm obsessed. I love TV
Yes.
graphic things.
Let's see. I'm trying to yes, bye Alexis. Tay. I can't remember if I said hi to you yet, but I'm just throwing that in there as well. Everyone is cracking up over our AI Jesus jugs. That's just, she was the highlight of the day for a lot of people. Hi, Carrie. Yes, we are loving this season of The Real Housewives of Orange County. They are back, baby. They are back. Okay.
Season 18 is strong.
Yes, they are. Well, friends, wherever you are listening, please leave a 5-star review. Do the subscribe thing. Check out the Pop Culture Besties merch shop on Etsy and follow Besties by Caitlin, Caitlin, on Instagram and on TikTok. And Georgio, tell everyone where they can find you, please.
Yes, you can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Georgio Says. You can listen to my podcast, Georgio Says. Anywhere you get your podcasts, you can stream my music. Just go into any of your streaming platforms and type in Georgio Says, and you'll have some surprises. What else? I think that's it. I will be having merch coming out soon. It's going to be different. It's not t-shirts and hoodies. It's not that type of merch. It's something different because I'm trying to do something that that I want to incorporate something that I love doing, which is taking textiles and putting them on other things. So,
I'm interested to see about this.
So I'm going to be doing that. So, but yes, thank you.
Yes. Well, besties, thank you again for joining us. I will see you on Thursday. What is that? The 26th? Yes. Where I will be frantically doing notes on The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City that morning. But we're going to be recapping that. And we'll see you Thursday. That's all I had to say there, my friends. I'm sorry. It's one of those days. Anyway, see you then. Thanks for joining. Bye.
Bye, guys.